Hi guys, so today I am going to go through a really quick tutorial on how to do the mouth X parameter, just because when I was learning how to do this, I really couldn't find like a good tutorial or anything like that to help me out, so I just wanted to share my process with you guys just so you can see, and here's an example of the mouth X parameter at work in my physics settings. So for this, you are already going to have your mouth form and open already rigged. Now we're going to make a mouth X parameter and even label the ID param mouth X with a minimum of -1 and a positive of 1, with the default being at 0. So I am going to put my entire mouth into its own warp deformer and label that mouth X for everything that is contained in the mouth. So we're gonna add our 3 keyframes to mouth X, go all the way to +1, and basically the best way that I do this is I look in a mirror and I make the mouth wiggle movements, is what I call them, in the mirror, and try to replicate that as well as I can with the VTuber. So instead of just like forming it to the side, you kind of want to maybe elongate a portion of the mouth, scrunch up the end where it, meets the cheek. You may want to up your conversion number divisions for this as well, just to make it a little easier and smoother as you're moving the mouth around. So by the time you get something you kind of like, go ahead and reflect that motion onto the other side. I should have said double check and make sure that your warp deformer for the mouth is as symmetrical as possible, so when it reflects, it's not wonky. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna move mouth X underneath mouth open and just link those together so I can see how they work together, and how they look. I do this on occasion, even though I do like mouth X kind of being in its own little area, but I still will move it back and forth just so I can make sure that it's all looking good together. So inside the mouth, we obviously have our top teeth, our bottom teeth, and our tongue, right? So when the mouth moves at mouth, between mouth X and it wiggles and stuff like that, those angles inside the mouth are also going to move a little bit. So I'm going to individually make now a warp deformer for individually top teeth, bottom teeth, and tongue. And I'm gonna move it so that way it gives us a little bit more dimension and depth in the mouth when the mouth is wiggled. And of course, before moving on, maybe just test out that wiggle a little bit just to make sure you like it. And then we will move on to other parts, because it's not just the mouth that moves when you wiggle. Again, if you look in a mirror and you wiggle your mouth, move it from side to side, you're gonna see that your jaw moves and your eyes might move a little bit, your nose moves. So I'm gonna move on to the nose next and just make everything that's in the nose under its own warp deformer, labeling it nose mouth X, and linking up the parameter to mouth X. So I'm not going to rotate the nose. I'm going to just push the bottom of the nose and have it kind of be at an angle. Because of course, the top of our nose, if you look in a mirror, the top of your nose doesn't move, just the bottom where your nostril area might. So instead of just rotating the entire nose, we're pushing it with the mouth. So now that I'm pretty happy with how the nose looks for the most part, of course, like you might go back and forth between each thing. The more you do, you might realize that something might need to change and adjust. But we're gonna go over to the head in its entirety, and I'm gonna select everything I have under our my head warp deformer, and I'm gonna make its own warp deformer again. You might be catching on. We're just gonna do mouth X. I'm giving a little more conversion divisions here, but I'm going to only select, I'm going to use that little highlighter pen and only really select the bottom where the jaw is, because the entire face doesn't move when you wiggle your mouth around. So I'm using that and I'm rotating the jaw, where it might go. I try to imagine where the bottom of the lip is in comparison to the jaw to try to make it look as, I guess, normal as possible. So now I'm going over to my right eye, but instead of selecting everything, I'm excluding the iris and the pupil and the eye glow. So basically everything besides those three things. But I am still including the eye white, so that's all connected. So when she kind of scrunches her face forward, I'm gonna make it to where the bottom of the eye kind of pushes up just slightly. Nothing crazy, but I think it just helps give it a little bit more fluidity. So I'm gonna do that with both sections of both eyes. So at this point, I'm just double checking everything. I'm looking at all of it, making sure that I like everything. Now's the time to really clean up and make sure you like everything and how it looks together. I think at this point for me, I was really having issues with the chin, so I went and cleaned up the chin, did a little bit more additional movements to certain things like the nose and all that, just to make sure that I fully liked it before moving on to another portion of the rig. So now I'm just relinking the mouth open to the mouth X and making sure that I like how it is looking with all the forms and everything like that before I fully want to say it's done. So at this point, we are done. That is how you get mouth X parameters. I would say double check and make sure that your webcam or whatever tracking you have can pick up this parameter. However, I do think at this point most things can, if I'm not mistaken, because I can actually track this with my webcam or my iPhone. So yeah, but regardless, I hope this was nice and easy for you guys to follow, and good luck.